Have you ever seen a fish fillet go into the pan looking promising, only to come out pale, heavy, and soaked with oil? That's the kind of disappointment that makes people give up on frying fish at home. But when everything is done the right way, the result is completely different: a golden crust, a light crunch with every bite, and that fresh, seasoned flavor that feels like a seaside lunch in Brazil. Today, I want to show you exactly how to make Brazilian crispy fried fish in a simple, practical way, with ingredients you probably already know: fish fillets, lemon, garlic, and flour for breading. Nothing complicated, nothing intimidating. Just a clear method that transforms a basic fillet into something irresistible, the kind of dish that disappears fast from the plate, whether it's for a family meal, a weekend lunch, or one of those days when you want something comforting without spending hours in the kitchen. This recipe carries that warm Brazilian coastal spirit, where fish is part of everyday life and food is meant to be shared. It's the kind of dish you can almost picture being served near the beach, with the smell of hot oil in the air, the sound of laughter around the table, and a squeeze of lemon right at the end to brighten everything up. And beyond being delicious, fish is also a great source of protein and omega-3, which makes this recipe even more appealing for those who like to eat well without giving up flavor. The secret here is not a fancy ingredient or a complicated technique. It's one simple detail that makes all the difference: the oil has to be very hot. That's what gives the fish its crispy finish instead of that greasy, heavy texture nobody wants. In just a few minutes, you can go from ordinary to amazing, and once you see how easy it is, you may never fry fish any other way again. If you enjoy practical Brazilian recipes with a relaxed, friendly style, stay with me, because in the next step I'm going to show you how to prepare the fish so it turns out light, crispy, and full of flavor from the very first bite. And if you're already enjoying this taste of Brazil, leave a like, tell me in the comments what curious thing you know about Brazil, and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next recipe. As soon as the fish hits the hot oil, everything changes. What could have been a soft, heavy fillet starts to transform almost instantly, turning firm on the outside and beautifully golden, while the inside stays tender and juicy. That contrast is what makes Brazilian crispy fried fish so irresistible. It is simple food, but when it is done right, it feels special, like something you would happily serve at a family lunch, a weekend gathering, or even with a cold drink by the beach. Before anything goes into the pan, the preparation already makes all the difference. The fish is seasoned with lemon and garlic, and that alone brings a fresh, unmistakable aroma that feels so Brazilian. There is no need for complicated marinades or a long list of ingredients. The seasoning should be enough to enhance the natural flavor of the fish, not hide it. Then comes the flour coating, light and even, just enough to help create the delicate crust once it meets the oil. This is the moment where a simple fillet begins to look like a dish with real character. And here is where many people go wrong: they rush the frying. If the oil is not hot enough, the fish does not crisp properly. Instead, it absorbs the oil and comes out greasy, soft, and disappointing. But when the temperature is right, the coating seals quickly, the surface turns crunchy, and the fish keeps its moisture inside. It is a small detail, but it completely changes the result. That is the secret that separates an ordinary fried fish from one that makes everyone at the table stop and ask for more. There is something comforting about recipes like this. They remind us that good cooking does not need to be complicated to be memorable. With just a few ingredients, a little care, and the right heat, you can bring out a flavor that feels close to the sea, to the coast, to those easygoing Brazilian meals people remember with a smile. And besides being delicious, it is also a nourishing choice, full of protein and omega-3, which makes it even better to enjoy without guilt. If this kind of practical, flavorful recipe is your style, go ahead and leave a like so more Brazilian classics can come your way. I also want to know something from you. Have you ever tried making fried fish at home, or do you have a favorite Brazilian dish that always reminds you of family and good times? And if you enjoy learning these simple recipes with a taste of Brazil, stay close, because the next step is where the fish truly becomes golden and crisp. What makes this fish truly special is how it changes right before your eyes. At first, the fillets are simple and unassuming, just lightly seasoned with lemon and garlic, letting the flavor go deep into the flesh without overpowering it. That's the kind of Brazilian cooking many of us love: practical, honest, and full of taste. Then comes the flour, coating each piece just enough to create the delicate crust. Not too thick, not heavy, just the right touch to help the fish become crisp once it hits the oil. And here's where the difference happens. If the oil is only warm, the fish starts absorbing it like a sponge. The result is the opposite of what we want: soft, greasy, and dull. But when the oil is very hot, the fish sizzles right away, sealing the outside and forming that beautiful golden color that feels like a promise. You can almost hear the sound of the coast in that pan, that lively, inviting crackle that tells you something delicious is happening. This is the moment to be patient for a few seconds and trust the process. In Brazilian homes and beachside kitchens, this kind of recipe is often shared with that relaxed confidence. Let it fry a little longer, now it's ready, see how the color changed? It's simple cooking, but it has a rhythm, and that rhythm makes all the difference. A good fried fish should look light, feel crisp, and still stay tender inside. And that's the beauty of it. With just a few ingredients, you get a dish that feels complete, comforting, and full of personality. It can be served with rice, a fresh salad, or even a squeeze of extra lemon on top, depending on the mood of the day. It's the kind of meal that doesn't need much to impress, because the texture alone already says everything. If you're enjoying this simple Brazilian tip so far, leave a like to support the recipe. And tell me, in your home, do you prefer fish fried extra crispy or more lightly golden? Stay with me, because in the next part I'll show you exactly how to finish it so it comes out perfect every single time. Depois de temperar os files com limão, alho e aquilo toque simples que já comica a abrir o sabor, vem a parte que faz toda a diferença entre pix comum e pix realmente irresistível. Antes, muita gente colocava o file na frigideira como óleo morno, que sem paciência, e o resultado era sempre o mesmo, pix encharcado, passado e sem graça. Mas quando o óleo está bem quente, o cenário muda completamente. O file entra, na mesma hora, a superfície comica a sealer, criando aquela casquinha dourada que a gente escuta antes mesmo de provar. E justamente esse som que anuncia que tudo está dando certo. Chiado firme, limpo, daqueles que lembram cozinha de casa boa, almoço de domingo e cairo de comida feita na hora. O pix neo precisa de exagero para ficar bonito. A farina de empanar faz o trabalho dela com delicadeza, envolvendo os files e ajudando a formar a crocância certa. O segredo está neo mixer demais no comico. Deixo o pix ganhar ar com calma de lado, depois bair com cuidado para neo quebrar a estrutura e perder aquele acabamento perfeito. Nesse momento, dá para perceber a diferença entre pressa e atenção. Quem cozinha com calma vio dourado aparecer pouco a pouco, como o pix esteve sendo transformado diante dos olhos. E quando ele sai de panela, esquerido e livre, a primeira impressão já é outra. Neo Paris pesado. Neo Paris oleoso. Paris fresco, crocante e pronto para ser servido com arroz, salada, farofa ou daquele molho simples que cada família gosta de preparar do seu jeito. Esse é o tipo de receita que conquista justamente por ser prática e honesta. Neo precisa de muitos ingredientes, neo exige técnica complicada e ainda entrega resultado que agrada todo mundo à mesa. A comida brasileira com gosto de literal, de encontro família, de refeição simples que vira memória boa. E além de saboroso, ainda traz os benefícios do pix, com proteína e ômega 3, o que dixe tudo ainda mais interessante para o dia a dia. Se você gosta desse tipo de receita fácil, bem explicada e com cara de Brasil, já dixe seu like com carinho. E me conta, qual é a curiosidade que você tem sobre a culinária brasileira? Se quiser continuar acompanhando receitas assim, se inscreve para não perder as próximas. Now comes the part where everything starts to change. The fish that was once waiting, simple and unassuming, is about to transform into something beautiful. You can almost feel the contrast already. Before, it was soft, damp, and plain. After, it becomes light, golden, and crisp at the edges, the kind of dish that makes people turn toward the kitchen the moment they smell it. By now, the fillets have absorbed the flavor of lemon and garlic, and that small step makes a big difference. It's not complicated, and that's exactly why this recipe feels so special. Brazilian home cooking often shines in moments like this, when humble ingredients and a clear method come together to create something truly satisfying. There is no need for tricks, no need for heavy seasoning, no need to hide the fish. The goal is to let it speak for itself, with a clean flavor and a perfect crunch. And here is where the texture really matters. The flour coating should be light, just enough to help the fish form that delicate crust in the pan. If you press it too much, it can lose that airy finish. But when it's done right, the result is wonderful, a thin, golden shell that gives way to tender fish inside. It's the kind of bite that feels comforting, especially served fresh, right after frying, when the steam rises and the outside is still crackling softly. The hot oil is doing most of the work now. This is the detail that changes everything. When the temperature is right, the fish seals quickly and fries beautifully. When it's not hot enough, the coating drinks in the oil and the whole dish turns heavy. That's the difference between a fish that feels like a beachside treat and one that leaves you disappointed. So the lesson is simple: patience for the oil, confidence for the fry. This is also one of those recipes that invites conversation around the table. Someone always asks, "How did it get this crispy?" And the answer is usually just a smile, because the secret is not in complexity, but in care. If this kind of practical Brazilian recipe makes you feel at home too, leave a like, because it helps this flavor travel farther. And I'd love to know, what's the one Brazilian dish that reminds you most of family, sunlight, or a special meal by the sea? And if you enjoy learning these simple, traditional recipes with a warm Brazilian touch, make sure you subscribe, because there's still one last step coming up, and that final detail is what brings the whole dish together. And just like that, the fish comes out beautiful, golden on the outside, tender on the inside, with that crisp coating that makes every bite feel fresh and satisfying. This is the kind of recipe that changes the whole mood at the table. What could have been a heavy, greasy fillet becomes something light, inviting, and full of flavor, the kind of dish that disappears quickly while everyone reaches for just one more piece. That contrast is exactly what makes this Brazilian crispy fried fish so special. It doesn't need complicated steps or hard-to-find ingredients. With a little lemon, garlic, seasoning, and the right heat in the oil, you get a result that feels almost restaurant-worthy, but made right at home. And when the frying is done properly, the coating stays dry and crunchy, while the fish inside remains juicy and delicate. That balance is the heart of the recipe. This is the kind of food that brings people together, whether it's a simple family lunch, a weekend meal, or a plate shared after a long day. It carries that easygoing Brazilian beachside feeling, where food is meant to be enjoyed without stress, without fuss, and with plenty of appetite. And beyond the flavor, it's also a smart choice for those who like meals with good protein and omega-3, making it both comforting and nourishing. If you enjoyed this recipe, take a moment to leave a like. It helps support the channel and tells me you want more practical Brazilian dishes like this one. And I'm curious, what's one Brazilian flavor, ingredient, or recipe you'd love to discover next? Write it in the comments, because I always enjoy reading your ideas. And if you like simple, clear recipes with that warm Brazilian touch, go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. There are many more delicious dishes ahead, and I'd love to have you here for the next recipe.